From SF Land, this is Dorking Out, a podcast for people who love to dork out about movies, TV, and everything pop culture.
Welcome to Dorking Out. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and I could really go for some razzles right about now. Joining me is my podcasting sister from another mister and the co-host of Dorking Out, Margo D. Hello, my friend.
Hey, friend, I'm just doing my thriller dance right now.
How's it going?
It's tougher than I remember.
Yeah, it is tough. That's why all those zombies, they died while doing it. FYI. This week, we are dorking out about 2004's 13 Going on 30, which is celebrating its 15-year anniversary this month. I can't believe it's been 15 years.
No.
You know what? This podcast is starting to make me feel old.
Oh my God.
Well, so it's celebrating its anniversary, but also that movie Little came out, and it kind of feels like it's one of those age swapping, body swapping movies. So
yeah,
13 Going on 30 seems appropriate right now, I think. And if you haven't seen it, it stars Jennifer Garner and Mark Ruffalo and Judy Greer and Andy Serkis. That's right, Gollum himself. Is in it, not playing a CGI character. He's playing a shitty magazine boss. Anyway, and Jennifer Garner's 13-year-old self wishes to be 30 and wakes up 30 years later. And she's one of those ritzy, fancy magazine editors that we always see in movies, but they don't exist in real life. And she reaches out to her grown man best friend, Mark Ruffalo, who she's in love with. It's real cute. Did you see this in the theater?
Yeah, and at the time I was working for YM magazine, and she was our cover star, and so we got to go to it was so appropriate. We got to go to a screening, and she wasn't there. It was just like a screening for the staff, and we were all excited. It was her first starring film, and as soon as they wake up in her apartment on Fifth Avenue, we all looked at each other and goes, where the hell does she work?
Right? It's
maybe the editor-in-chief at a Conde Nast publication could afford that apartment, but that is not an executive editor's apartment.
Movies love magazine editors and advertising executives and architects. I don't know if they 100% understand what they actually do for a living or what their salaries are, but they always seem to make a lot of money and have gorgeous apartments.
Well, even like a Law & Order SVU, the cops there have like these gigantic New York apartments. Like, do you know how much cops make? It's on Fifth Avenue. I know exactly where she is because that's where Disney Publishing was for a while on Fifth Avenue. I mean, it's gorgeous. She has a gorgeous apartment, and it starts off in 1987. And by the way, did you see Brie Larson?
Yes, I did. Brie Larson is one of the Mean Girls, which coincidentally, the movie Mean Girls actually came out the following week.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
I didn't know they were that close
this movie was just a little bit just right before it. So kind of this movie tries to deal with the idea of mean girls. Like Jenna, played by Jennifer Garner, really wants to be in this popular clique, and she just can't. She's just a geek. Well, she's not really, but they think she is, and she can't be a part of it. So actually Mean Girls deals with that in like a much more, I don't want to say thoughtful, because it's a comedy too, but you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
More extensively, I guess. I did think it was weird. This movie starts in 87, but clearly seems to have like a 1983 mindset with like...
Okay, thank you. Yes, yeah. There's a difference because I was a teenager in the 80s, so I could tell you the difference between 1983 and 1981 and 1987.
Right.
Like in 1987, girls were not listening to Rick Springfield. He's still adorable, but he was not cool. It was not, that's not who they were into. And even like the one point where they have the party and they sing Love is a Battlefield, which is a great song.
Right.
But like, they wouldn't be into that. I mean, but they open with this go-go song called Head Over Heels, which I love.
Yeah, I love that song.
It's one of their best songs, but it has that high energy. I mean, it also has Liz Phair on the soundtrack.
I love that song too.
Me too. I like, oh, it's wonderful. But yeah, they get their 80s like, or it's just like in a big blender. Like just what are things that people liked then? Okay.
Like the clothes are super 80s, like costume 80s, like you would buy it at the Halloween store 80s.
Right.
Yeah. A 13-year-old girl in 87 would not still be like watching MTV and making kissy faces at Rick Springfield. They probably wouldn't be dancing to Thriller anymore either. Because that would have been like 4 years earlier, but that's okay. I guess if we're going to accept that, you know, there's a whole age swapping thing here, then we got to let some shit slide.
It's time travel, basically. So if we have to accept that, then fine.
But I do think... Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that I like the relationship between her and her best friend, who's Matt, and that the whole thing 7 minutes in heaven in the closet, and she's waiting in the closet, and like he's making the dream house for her.
That's so cute.
And it's so cute, and the kids are so rotten the way they like steal the food and leave.
I know, what assholes.
But she doesn't have like she's super, and I was super gawky and awkward when I was 13, so I could just totally relate to all that.
How much does being 13 fucking suck?
I honestly, I wouldn't do it for $1 million.
No, I wouldn't either.
I would not, because I'd have to put up with everything else that happened at that time, with all my siblings and my parents and the friends that I had and the teachers that I had. Like, I couldn't do it.
13's the worst.
It's the worst.
It's like the worst age.
You're not a kid. But you're not really a teenager, right? Because you can't do anything on your own. You still have to be, you know what I mean? And your hormones are going through your body.
Yeah, you can't even control your emotions at that point. Like
no. And I was one of the first girls to need a bra, which is like I was kind of a tomboy, so it really
everyone was
sucked.
probably looking at you.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
There were other things though. Like the teenage Jenna says, like she's like, I don't want to be beautiful in my own way. I just want to look like them, talking about models. And I'm like, well, that's every 13-year-old. Like, it doesn't matter if it's 83, 87, or right now. Everyone is still that way. Just, you know, magazines, music videos, they mess with your head. So he builds her that little dream house and he puts wishing dust on it. And it turns out the wishing dust actually works. And it's not really addressed again, ever. the wishing dust works. And she wakes up the next day. Well, I guess I don't even know if it's the next day. She wakes up and she's 30. Like 30 years have passed and she doesn't remember any of the life she's led. She just knows that she's now 30 and she's in this gorgeous apartment, but she hasn't gained any of that life experience that you get from those like 17 years that she's missing. So she's still like a kid in a grown-up hot Jennifer Garner body.
right, with this gorgeous face, gorgeous hair, gorgeous body, great clothes.
She has the cutest dresses.
Yes.
I'm like, I would wear all of those dresses. They are so cute. And everyone drinks. She's adorable. Super adorable.
She is so adorable. And she was known for Alias before this.
Did you watch that?
No, I never did. Did you?
I did. I watched it pretty consistently for a couple of years. And then, you know, you kind of jump off for a while and then come back. But she was always amazing on that show. She's so great on it. And this movie really is... like, it just hangs on how much you like Jennifer Garner. And she's so sweet in this movie. I can't imagine somebody else would have to work really, really hard to sell you on this movie. And I don't think she has to work really hard because she's just really, really sweet and you like her.
She's very believable.
Yeah.
And so
I liked her.
So her friend Lucy is also her coworker. And Judy Greer, who's done 1 million parts in 1 million films, and they like right off the bat, they're getting in a car together to go to work. I'm like, nope, they take the subway like everybody else. But okay, she wouldn't know how to get there otherwise. And then they get to the magazine. It's called Poise magazine,
right?
And like I said, someone once told me you should never watch a movie about something you know a lot about.
Right.
Because all you can do is sit there and just see the inconsistencies. But there's stuff that is meaningful. Like they actually do, or they did, like when I worked out there, like you would put your cover on the board and then you'd have your competitors' covers, all around it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you would see like what are they covering? What's selling for them? What's selling for you, and that kind of thing. And so the whole thing is that their circulation, and it actually is pretty low for 2004. It's like 600,000 or something. And they're going to have to get a redesign unless they can get up the numbers and stuff like that. And so that first night she has a party and she does her own hair and makeup. She looks great.
Yeah, she does a really good job.
She does way better than I would.
Oh, no. 13-year-old Sonia was not good at that.
No, well, I still need help with it, to be honest with you. But she goes and meets Matt. And it's Mark Ruffalo, who's so also just adorable.
Yeah,
he's
everybody
so sweet. Everybody drink.
And he wasn't like a big star at this point, right? Like he had done like You Can Count on Me and like supporting parts in other movies, but he wasn't, the Incredible Hulk. He wasn't a huge movie star at this point. And
You Can Count on Me made me cry so fucking hard in a movie theater. Have you ever seen it?
I only saw it the one time in the theater, but I remember
with Laura Linney.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's awesome. Mark Ruffalo is someone who's super awesome, and he's really, really cute in this movie. Like, and I think he's actually got like a bit of a grounding force in this movie, because the movie is very fantastical in that it's a body switching, age swapping movie or whatever we're gonna call it. But he plays it real, I guess, where he's just like, are you on drugs? Like, why are you acting like that?
Right.
He's kind of the only one that seems to notice that she's not right in her head, but not enough to like do anything about it other than make out with her, I guess.
Well, he walks her home.
Yeah.
She finds out where he lives, and he's an artist now. He's a photographer, an artist, and he walks her back to her apartment, her very fancy apartment, and then she has a thing that night, a work party that night, and so she invites him to attend, and so she goes to the party, and she's drinking the pina coladas.
Yeah, that's totally what
touch.
A 13-year-old girl would order, by the way.
Yeah. And it would taste delicious. Like, I can't even sip those things now. They're so gross.
Oh, no, they're way too sweet. They make me puke.
Oh, they're awful. So she has this party and nobody's dancing and it's a dud. And then all of a sudden she tells the DJ, why don't you put on Thriller? And he does. And she starts dancing. And at one point, Matt comes into the party and she drags him on the dance floor. And supposedly
I love that part.
I love it too. Mark Ruffalo.
Maddie, it's Thriller.
Thriller. And that was their first day of filming. And Mark Ruffalo said he almost left because he was mortified because he didn't know how to dance. He has to dance up front with all these other people who were standing around. But it works great. Everybody gets into it. And she saves the party.
Yeah.
And she's starting to find out, like, her parents are on a cruise. So she can't talk to them.
They went on a cruise without me?
And she goes to work and she has an assistant that's terrified of her. And she's just trying to figure things out, like how to be an adult and how to be at your job. And they're competing with another magazine. And Judy Greer is supposed to be her friend, but you figure out pretty soon.
They're frenemies.
No, they're frenemies. And they're going to have some kind of a conflict later. And then at one point, she does have a boyfriend. Jennifer Garner has a boyfriend who's Alex, who's the hockey player, who's dumb as dirt, but very sweet.
I just love, like, who's hot on and off the ice. It's like awful striptease.
He's so dumb.
Well, and that's another thing too, where it's like, I owe you a raunchy striptease, and then he's like, who's got it on and off the ice, which made me laugh out loud. But he's dancing to Ice Ice Baby, and that's like another one that I'm like, was this movie supposed to be made earlier? Is this like an out of date script and they just didn't because I feel like the music shouldn't have been that old.
It's all over the map.
I mean, I guess he's a hockey player, so ice ice baby, I guess. Maybe.
It's a little literal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that scene is so funny because she's just like, ew, gross. Like, and he's trying to make out with her, and she's like, ew.
Because she doesn't know. She's very naive, and she finds out that she wants to hang out with Maddie because that's her real friend. She realizes she doesn't have a lot of friends, but Maddie is engaged to another woman.
Mm-hmm.
So she and Matt, they kind of hang out. But he basically is like, look, I'm with somebody else. That's the way it's going to have to be. And then just as a surprise, they have to redesign the magazine, which is usually when after that they fold it, which is true.
Right.
Like that's usually when everybody talks about the redesign, everyone like starts working on their resumes. But they say Jennifer Garner and Judy Greer, they're going to do their own competing versions of what they should do next. And
what do you think of Judy Greer's version?
Oh, it's like the death stuff. And
it was a nightmare.
It was so nightmare inducing, but I think it got the digital kind of going.
I guess that's
she's
true.
Thinking, in the future, whereas Jennifer Garner does this unjapunga, like she does clips of a yearbook, and it's so crazy because it's like, who is this magazine for?
Right.
It's not for a grown woman. It's for a teenager who wants to be a grown woman. Like, I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's a very strange idea because basically I'm like, okay, who's the magazine for at this point? Like, is it for 13-year-old Jenna, who, is the audience for the magazine 13-year-olds dreaming of what their life is going to be someday? Or is the magazine supposed to be like a Vogue, Cosmo type thing that's actually for 18 and up, basically? I don't know.
It's very weird, and the layouts are very strange. They're not forward thinking at all. Mm-mm. It's very retro. But she hires Maddie to be the photographer.
Of course she does.
Right. Oh, and then at one point, there's a sequence where, like I said, she realizes she doesn't have any friends and she can't quite figure out what her life is about. And she does go home to her parents.
That scene's really sweet.
I thought so, too. I thought that was really sweet, too. And they give her a little talking to, and she realizes she's been doing bad things.
Yeah.
And then she comes back to the office, and that's when you find out pretty much quickly, like, boom, she was sleeping with somebody's husband.
Yeah, she actually says at one point, like, I don't have any real friends. She's like, I did something bad with a married guy. I don't talk to my parents. Like, she's like, who am I? She's like, I sound like a terrible person.
Well, yeah, and then it turns out that she's the one that's been feeding the story ideas to that rival magazine because they were going to promise her they would take her on as an editor. Like, because I found out this time I watched it, like when she's going through her mail, when she's first getting into the apartment to see where she is, one of those letters is from that magazine.
Right.
So they're sending her a check. So that's the whole sneaky thing. But then Judy Greer does something really sneaky, and she steals the photos, and then all of a sudden they have a magazine.
Right.
And there's no copyright issues.
I guess not. Well, they
very confused.
It's very weird. Like, she gets Mark Ruffalo to like sign over the pictures to her, and then she takes them to the other magazine. And don't you love it when people take incriminating evidence and just put it in their desk where people can find it?
It's like, that's not how it works. Like, there's contracts, there's like all kinds of things going on.
And they've got a new magazine out like the next day.
Yeah, the very
all the
next
photos.
Day, on billboards, on buses and shit like that. Like, and like that takes months to put into place. But in the movie universe, that's what happens. Like, they turn around and boom, it's there. And then so she's bummed out, and then she finds out Matt's getting married, and so she goes back home because he's getting married in his house that was like next door to hers. And of course she gets in a cab, and it's an old boyfriend or a guy she went to high school with is her cab driver. Of course. And drives her there, and she sees Maddie, and she gets her dream house, and she holds on to her dream house, and then boom, she's back in the closet.
Because the wishing dust.
The wishing dust.
Which no one ever talks about, ever. She's never like, Maybe it was the wishing dust that made this happen. Or no, nothing.
She never went back before then to look for this house.
No.
So she goes back, but this time, and then she winds up back in the closet. And then she opens up the door, and it's Maddie, and she gives him a big kiss. And the next thing you see, they're getting married.
It's very cute.
And it's very cute. It's total wish fulfillment.
Yeah, it is.
You know, if I were 15, I'd be all over this shit.
Oh, yeah. I would watch it like every day.
Yeah.
It's interesting that Mike's fiance, Maddie's fiance, she's not like some villain, you know, that you're like, oh, she better break up that marriage. That's not the right girl for him or any of that stuff. It's like she's perfectly nice person. He's just obviously not really in love with her. And it's kind of sad that he's still going to go through with the wedding, even though he's like, oh, we care about each other. What are you going to do? You know, I'm like, oh.
And move to Chicago.
Yeah.
And they're going to move to Chicago. So, like, he's changing his whole life for her.
Yeah.
But he was so hurt by Jenna because of what she did to him way back in high school that, you know,
I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. I'm like, dude, you didn't work out your shit. You're like you're 30 now. And you're still like super bummed that Jenna was rude to you when you were 13. And then you're just going into like a marriage of like, oh, we care about each other.
Well, I get the feeling. So in real life, what happened in the time was that she did join that group, and then she was like the leader of the group.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
And it totally changed her personality. That's when she went from being insecure to just being the queen bee, and you know, the queen bees and wannabes and all that crap. She became a queen bee, and then like that's just the personality she adopted. So she changed completely as a person. So I think he just was like, no,
can't trust anybody.
You can't. I had a funny thing happen when I was 15, 16 years old. I had a best friend, and we were totally inseparable. And we had a group of friends. We hung out together. We listened to Rick Springfield. We we did those dorky things, danced to Pat Benatar. And then one time we were having a party over the summer. And for some reason, I just got on her nerves or something. And she started spreading all this crap about me, all these lies. Yeah. And it was like, I'm in the basement dancing to music, and she's taking people upstairs and gradually telling people, like, I'm greedy, or like, Margo has a pool, she never invites me over. Margo just blah, blah, blah.
Jesus.
It was the worst. And it was like, I was so heartbroken. Nobody talked to me for weeks. I never, you're that age. Yeah. It really hurts. And
it's the worst.
It's the worst.
This sort of thing happened to me, sadly, often from like 7th grade through high school, where like you meet someone and they're your friend and you kind of have this group. And then at some point the group decides like it needs to like turn on its weakest member or something. Yeah. And it happened to me a few times where like I was the one that was like, all of a sudden they're not my friend anymore. And
it's painful.
And I'm like, what? I don't know what happened here.
What I did.
Like, yeah, I have no idea, literally no idea what I did. And like, it's awful. And I would like just go to the library and like read books and like kind of lick my wounds for a little while and then try to like make new friends and stuff like that. And it's so shitty. It's awful. This is what, you know, I want to say teenage girls, but I'm sure boys do this too. And and nothing's fucking changed because they literally still do this. I have nieces
in schools now.
Yeah. I have nieces, and one of them is, we call her Tiny Sonia because she is Tiny Sonia, and she has gone through the same thing. And I'm like, it's awful. I was like, I'm sorry. I was like, but it doesn't last forever. That's my advice to you.
That's the thing. So by that fall, it was a new semester of school, and people figured out that this girl was crazy, and I had friends again. But then we moved from Pennsylvania. We moved a lot when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? That's good. New start, new whatever. So I go to another school. 20 years later, this person finds me on AOL and starts just emailing me. And I'm like, and then I don't respond. So she starts emailing my brother, who wrote her back. And then my brother says, hey, did you hear from Lisa? And I'm like, let me tell you about Lisa. And it was like it happened yesterday. It was so still painful because I hadn't talked about it. I hadn't thought about it. So I told him, and then he told her, and this woman started calling me and writing me nonstop. I don't remember. I asked my mother. I mean, all this stuff. And it like brought all this shit. Like she didn't even remember doing it. And it's like some people are like that. Like they just kind of take relationships and just go in and out of them and drop people and go to someplace else. And they never think twice about it.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what Jenna did. Maybe she just dropped him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As a friend, and they were really close, and that hurt him. So I kind of, okay, maybe I'm on Team Matt.
You know what?
Like, I get it.
I'm on Team Matt too.
I get it.
I take back what I said.
Yeah.
Because that shit hurts. I get it.
It hurts when you're 13.
Yeah.
And school is everything. You know, those friends you have at school are everything. It's your whole world. It's hard.
You're there for like 8 or 9 hours, 5 days a week. And you have to fucking deal with these people. You have to see them. And it sucks to like, you know, just try to like occupy that like free time when nobody wants to talk to you.
Yeah.
It's the fucking worst. I mean, now kids have phones and stuff, but I always had like a book on me all the time. Me too. Because I was like, I never knew when like people weren't going to be my friend anymore.
I had my Walkman and then my Discman. Mm-hmm. Like I became very good at being on my own. Mm-hmm. And that serves me well. But yeah, there's like, you know, and I think as an adult, you have like some really good close friends in your life. Yeah. But every once in a while, as an adult, you'll make a friend with somebody and they'll pull that kind of shit.
Oh, yes.
That like high school shit. And you're just like, you learn like, oh, no. Not doing this.
That's funny. That reminds me of when I was in 7th grade. So I probably was right around this age. My grandmother had made me this jacket. And I was very naive, like 13. Like I wasn't like cool. I didn't know like anything about like cool clothes or whatever. I was like, well, it must be cool if they sell it in a store. It must be stylish, right? You know, like I did not understand. So I'm wearing like this like quilted jacket that my grandmother made for me. And I wear it to like 7th grade, like first day of class or something. Some girls all, nice jacket, Sonia. And I was like, oh, thanks. You know, and she's like, no, it's stupid is what I'm, you know, whatever. And like, and I was like, but my grandmother made this for me because she thinks I'm special. And then, like, she's like, you're special, all right. You know, all this shit. And I'm like, never wear that jacket again, of course. And now I would totally wear that jacket. But a couple years ago, my grandmother knitted me like a cap, like a winter cap. It's really cute. So I wear them all the time. And I was wearing it, and some friend of mine's like, what's with that hat? You look like a goober. And I was like, my grandmother made this for me because she thinks I'm special. Fuck off! Like, just like totally like, it just like brings up all that old shit. Fuck off! My hat's amazing!
I have a hard time watching teenage stuff sometimes, especially when teenagers are being mean to each other, because I just remember it.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember just like, like you said, all the hormones that you're going through and the changes that you're going through, and you get your period at some point, and oh my God, that's like the worst thing to deal with.
Yeah. And by the way, tampons weren't like really an awesome thing for like teenage girls. You had to like, almost all of us were forced to wear pads, which meant you were walking around with a fucking diaper on.
And they leaked.
It was so awesome for your self-esteem.
And you get pimples, and it's all this whack shit. And if you've always had curly hair, your hair goes straight. If you've always had straight hair, it goes curly. Like it's just like your body just like freaks out on you. But then you like boys, or you like girl, whatever. Like, you know, your hormones go in that direction too, and it all gets confusing.
Yeah, it's just a big old mess. It's awful.
It's bringing up so much. My therapist appointment this week, I think I'm going to be just all about.
Like,
when I was 14,
when I watched 13 going on 30, I was thinking about. These movies kind of fascinate me, actually, and there's a ton of like these body switching, like age swapping movies. So they were really popular, especially in the 80s. So we had like Big, which you did a whole amazing episode about on F This Movie. So if you guys want to hear Margo talk about Big, go to F This Movie and find it.
And by the way,
it's amazing.
How messed up it is.
That movie is fucked up.
It's so fucked up. Trust me. Just look for
Everyone
that episode
is
of
just
This
like,
Movie.
oh, I love that movie. Tom Hanks dances on the piano. And you need to rewatch it. But then there was like Freaky Friday. Well, Freaky Friday was 70s and early
90s.
2000s, I think. But then like Peggy Sue got married. Chances are, vice versa, like Father Like Son, like all these body switching movies were going on. And I think we just all love them, right? Because it's the idea of reliving your childhood with what you know now is.
It is. Or just like, what if your life was completely different?
Yeah.
What if I woke up and I wasn't in this apartment and I had a whole other responsibilities, like let's just say, and I had blonde hair and I was tan and like, what would it be like? Like, how would people treat me? Would it be better? Would it be worse? Like, it's hard not to. Every once in a while I think about, like, what if in high school when this thing happened, I said this instead of that, or I didn't let it bother me, and would everything have changed? Probably not. I mean, I think you're just meant to go through. That's what high school sucks, but it kind of prepares you for later on.
It's so, like, this movie had me thinking about, like, going, like, what would I go, if I could go back and, like, talk to, like, 13-year-old Sonia.
Yeah.
You know, I would tell her, like, this shit doesn't even fucking matter.
Right.
You're not even going to see these people in a couple of years. Like, fuck them and just be you. Just do you.
Right.
You're fine. You know, because I was really shy. Like, I had a hard time making new friends, and I certainly wouldn't, like, I was so uncomfortable. I couldn't even pursue the things that I liked doing, like writing and things like that, because I was so afraid of, like, drawing attention to myself. And I think that's really sad. And I'm like, gosh, I would love to go back and tell 13-year-old Sonia, fuck those people. Just do it. Just wear what you want to wear. Wear that fucking fedora to school if you want, because you watched Remington Steele and you want to, or whatever. Like, who cares?
It doesn't matter. It's so funny. And I was having this conversation with some people the other day, and also about college, you know, this whole college scandal, and where you go to college is so important. And it's like, it's not really. Like, go where you want to go to college. Get the best experience out of it. It, you know, everybody's different, but everyone's on their own. I know. I would just tell 13 Margo, just relax and just, a lot of these people are losers that you're trying to impress, really. Like, they never left that part of Pennsylvania. They never did any, you know, like,
right.
You know, you're going to do some cool things and you're going to make some mistakes, but you're going to have fun, and you're going to have a podcast one day.
That's right. With your friend Sonia. I won't leave you.
That's right.
I won't spread rumors about you much. I went to my 30-year high school reunion last year. And there's a lot of, like, good people I went to high school with, so I don't want to make it sound like everyone I went to high school with was an asshole. That's not quite what I mean. There were definitely assholes at my school, but there was also good people too. And it was just kind of funny being there and just being with some people that, like, I didn't really talk to then, and I found it hard to talk to them now because I was like, we had this one thing in common, that we went to high school together, but that's kind of it.
It's not enough to maintain a friendship, really. It's kind of, there's a few friends from high school that I'm Facebook friends with, and I'm kind of just okay with that. Like, it doesn't matter to me to, I don't know.
I was kind of fascinated by how many of them are still really, really close. Like, they still see each other all the time. And I'm like, wow, I don't see any of my high school friends. I see some every once in a while, like, you know, run into them at a baseball game or something, but that's it.
I didn't go to I stopped going at the 20th, but the 25th reunion, I did have friends go, and they gave me the intel, and the super popular kids, and there's always, by the way, they're like 10% of the population. There are not even that many of them, like why we gave them so much power, but she said the group of them that I know, and they all look a blonde, blue-eyed. They're all like from Pretty in Pink casting.
Yeah.
Like that's what my school looked like. And she said all they did, they're such losers. They stayed in they're in a hotel room and watched a videotape of the graduation over and over again. And they would stop and like, look, Sue, that's you. That's you. I'm like, would you want to look at 18-year-old self? Like, no. And I was cute, but no. I'm like, what are you doing with your life?
That's the other thing too. Like I see pictures of 18-year-old Sonia and I'm just like, oh my God. Like I had like huge like blonde hair, like Jessica Simpson hair, but Jessica Simpson wasn't a thing in, 88. But like this beautiful mane of hair and so skinny. And
yeah, same here.
And I didn't have glasses then, and just, I sound like humble brag, but pretty cute. And like, and at the time I was like, I'm so fat.
Yeah.
If only I could weigh 115 instead of 120. LOL.
Right.
I'll never weigh 120 again.
I wore big clothes because baggy clothes are really popular.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the same thing. I was skinny, but I didn't I was self-conscious of my breasts. So, oh no,
yeah.
You can't, but by the way, boys were gross. So, there is that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I look at pictures like, oh, I was cute. Like why was I so hard on myself?
It's just, that's time, right? I mean, I could
Yeah.
look at Facebook loves to remind me of, that's true of everybody on Facebook. Facebook loves to remind you of shit. So it's like 10 years ago, you did
memory.
blank, and I see some picture of me from 10 years ago, and I was like, God, I look great.
There was a guy, oh my God, a few years ago, there was a guy, he was the president of our class. I don't think he ever got married, and he actually works for the UN, but he's totally about being from our high school, Ridgewood High School. And he's totally into it. He has a Facebook group about it. And a few years ago, he tagged me on Facebook, and it was a picture of me from the yearbook in my prom dress, leaving the party with my prom date. And he tagged me and was like, hey, Margo, Donahue, do you remember this day? And I mean, all of a sudden I went out to lunch. I didn't bring my phone with me. I come back, my phone's blowing up, and it's all my friends like getting excited because I saw this high school picture of me. And I'm like, the fuck? And I tracked him down through Facebook and said, you untag me right now. And he apologized. He was like, oh, I thought you'd think that was fun. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? We left high school 27 years ago. Like, you never once talked to me ever in all that time that I was there up until now, but you're tagging me like he's doing me a favor by remembering me or something. It was like, ugh.
Gee, thanks.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm raging all over the place here.
No, it's okay. That's what this movie brings out in us. That's one of the things I like about this show. We'll just talk about movies, and we're going to talk about the shit it brings up, and I love it.
And it gives us a place to do it.
It's right. Do we have anything else to say about this movie? It's really cute. It's super easy to watch. It's 90 minutes long. It's awesome.
It's 90 minutes long. It's great New York stuff. It's great fashions. It's got some very cute scenes, great soundtrack. It's not believable. That is not how magazines are done, but magazine business dies like a week later after this movie comes out.
Time traveled isn't a thing either. So
no, I wish.
But it does have a really good soundtrack. It's got that Go-Go song, Head Over Heels, Jesse's Girl, Burning Down the House.
Yep.
I Want to Dance with Somebody, Crazy for You, and then it's got that really great Liz Phair song, Why Can't I? That is...
It's great.
It's super fun. I wrote down the top 10 movies of 2004. Are you ready?
Oh, go for it. Yes, I am.
Okay, number 10 is Ocean's 12. Boring.
No, not good.
Number 9, Shark Tale. I think we all know where we were when we saw Shark Tale.
What are you talking about? Are you making this up?
Is that a movie?
Are you making this up? Are you making fun of me?
I don't know what that movie is. Number 8 is Troy. I saw Troy.
It's stupid.
I don't remember anything about it other than I saw it.
Terrible.
Speaking of terrible, number 7, Meet the Fockers.
I actually kind of liked it. I know.
You know what?
Is that the first one or the second one?
That's the second one.
I kind of like the first one. Sorry, Meet the Fockers is kind of dumb. Yeah.
I have not. I really hate Meet the Parents, but I know that people love it.
I know Aaron hates it. My friend, my next door Aaron. Every time I bring up like lines from that movie, she just stares at me.
We can
it's
we could do
comedy.
an episode on that someday, and you'll just hear me like be
Steve.
like, I don't understand. I don't get. Oh, anyway. Number 6, The Day After Tomorrow. Number 5, The Passion of the Christ.
No,
Number
thank
4, The Incredibles. That's a good one.
Okay, that's a good one.
Number 2, Spider-Man 2. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the good ones.
Yeah.
And then number 1 is Shrek 2.
I like the Shrek movies. I know I'm a loser.
I don't think that makes you a loser. I think most people like the Shrek movies.
I've met people who hate those Shrek movies. They don't think they're funny, and I think they're hilarious.
Oh, I thought the first one was really funny. I have to tell you, I don't remember. I don't remember much about the second or third ones. But
the second one has Antonio Banderas, and he plays Puss in Boots.
Oh yeah.
And he shows up. My name is Puss and Boots, and it's so cute. And it's the cutest thing ever.
So
do you want to hear about the songs?
I do. Tell me.
Okay, sorry. So a lot of Usher, Yeah, and My Boo.
Oh, Yeah is a really good song.
My Happy Ending, Avril Lavigne. Drop It Like It's Hot, Snoop Dogg. This goes all over the place here, by the way. We have Just Lose It by Eminem.
Oh, that's a good one.
Take Me Out, Franz Ferdinand.
I like that song too.
Yeah.
Wow, this is still when I listen to music, so I know these songs.
Same here. And Mr. Brightside, The Killers.
I love that song.
Me too.
I love it. That's a good karaoke song if I did karaoke.
We have Jessica Simpson, Pieces of Me.
Oh.
I remember we made Jessica Simpson for YM Magazine. She was like our new star of the year. We made up some phony baloney award and she came. And
I love that's a thing
Ashley
where they
Simpson,
just.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's right. Ashley Simpson. That's where I love that magazines just make up awards.
Oh yeah, and they show up.
That's
and
awesome.
She came up. She was so cute, but here's the thing: she was an hour late showing up, and it was a luncheon, and then it took her an hour to get ready. She was so flaky. I know, but by the time she was cute, and she performed some songs and stuff like that. But yeah, anyway, that's it.
That's it. What else are you dorking out about?
So I'm dorking out about FX has a show called Fosse Verdon.
I am going to start that this week. I can't wait.
If you like musicals, it's great.
Okay.
Bob Fosse is a total asshole, and I'm trying to think of the actor who's playing him.
Oh, Sam Rockwell.
Thank you, because I keep saying Charles Rocket. I'm like, no, that's somebody else totally different. Sam Rockwell, who died. Did you hear about that?
No.
Oh God, he killed himself.
What? Oh no,
yeah.
I don't know that.
Yeah, it's horrible. I just heard that the other day. I'm like, oh my God, whatever happened to that guy? And then I read it. I'm like, oh my God. Anyway, not Charles Rocket, Sam Rockwell.
Yeah.
He plays, and then Michelle Williams is playing Gwen Verdon. And they just recreate these dances from like Sweet Charity and Cabaret. And if you like those kind of musicals and if you like dance numbers, it's so geeky and amazing. If you don't, it's not going to be your jam. But
I do like those things.
Oh, it's so good. And they just had the first episode out last week, and it's on FX, and you can see it on demand.
Nice.
And then for something that a secret project you and I are working on, I was looking at old Oprah Winfrey shows. And
is this where we do deep dives on every episode ever of the Oprah Winfrey Show?
No. Well, she did an interview but I will talk to you about like when we do we're gonna announce something soon. But she had a show on her network called OWN, and it was the first show, and it was the last year of her talk show, and it was behind the scenes of her talk show, and it was all of her producers. And these were people, as a PR person, I'm pitching them for years. You wanted to be on Oprah. It was like the show. And then I watched this show, and it's their last go round. And these are people in their like 30s, 40s, 50s. They're professionals, and they are so terrified of Oprah. It's just watching these adults so afraid they're going to make her mad, so afraid that she's not going to like their idea. And it's fascinating to watch because Oprah is always like about, having balance and, finding your true value and all this stuff. And then she has these people work for her and then she just works them like a tyrant. I mean,
you're not about life-work balance.
She's not. We've never had kids. She never had to, leave the office for a doctor's appointment for somebody. Like, anyway, I just found these old. I was fascinated when that show came out. I just found some old clips, and like I said, it's just watching these 40, 50-year-old people just like going up to Oprah who wanted to do a show about a woman who didn't lose her virginity until she was 38, and Oprah didn't think that was a big deal. And like these people are like. Well, yeah, she goes, well, she didn't want to do it until then. It wasn't for religious reasons, by the way. She just was like awkward, let's just say. But like these people, Oprah's like, why is that weird? Why is that weird? And they were so afraid to talk to her, like to give them like, yeah, dummy, like that's way too late.
It's way too late.
Oh my God. Anyway, that's what I'm geeking out about.
That's
dorking out about.
I am dorking out about, and I'm sure you are too, the new Rise of Skywalker preview for Star Wars. How
much did you cry when you saw Carrie Fisher hugging Daisy Ridley?
I most certainly did shed a tear.
I lost it.
I think I try not to watch a lot of previews because previews ruin fucking everything. But I do like to watch those first Star Wars trailers when they come out. So I watched this one and it just looks so good and I'm so excited. And I know that there's a very vocal component of the Star Wars fan base that really hates Last Jedi. I think they're a very small audience, but they're just loud. I love The Last Jedi. Love it.
As do I. Me too.
I have rewatched it like 2 more times at home and I love it more every time I watch it. So I'm really excited for this. I think it looks really good. And I don't know what the title means. And I got into it a little bit on Twitter because everyone was like, see, they're going to say that Luke's her father or something like that. And I was like, or maybe maybe it has nothing to do with that. Maybe it's just, about, maybe that's just the episode title. The Last Jedi wasn't really that there was a Last Jedi. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I think people read too much into stuff. So I'm really, really excited for Skywalker. And I also wanted to mention, as people know who listen to the show, I super love baseball. I love to go to games and watch baseball. So I'm always like watching baseball. And one of the teams we have here in the Bay Area is the Oakland Athletics. And they added a sensory room to their ballpark for people with autism and sensory processing disorders. And they're opening it this weekend. And I am so happy and excited.
Oh, wow. Are you going to go?
Yeah. So Saturday is the autism awareness game because April is Autism Awareness Month or Autism Acceptance Month, depending on the people use both.
Right.
And we're going to go and we're bringing our son and I'm really excited to see it. And I just think it's one of these really cool things that the A's are doing to like connect with their fans. They're kind of wooing the next generation of fans. They've made all kinds of things at the ballpark for all kinds of different people. So, they have like an area they call the tree house and it's like super family friendly and you can bring your kids and they offer like really affordable tickets. And I like that they added this room. It's a really cool idea because a lot of people with autism love baseball because it's the stats and all that stuff.
Right.
But the ballpark itself can be very overwhelming. It can be really loud, bright lights, things like that. So I think it's really cool that do you guys hear my dog? My dog is barking. My dog Toby has things to say about baseball. So anyway, I think it's really cool. We've gone to games, a lot of games, and we went one night and it was like fireworks night. And my son lost his mind, and I was I felt so stupid and embarrassed that I had for myself, not him, that I didn't think about the fireworks night, and he was like really upset. It was really loud, and how much a room like this would have been really, really helpful to like go in and like let him decompress a little bit before we like ran to the car, like because we were like, let's get out of here.
Oh God.
So I think it's really cool, and I'm just really dorking out about it. And thank you to the A's for doing that. I think it's awesome.
I always liked the A's. I always preferred them over the Giants.
I have to say, like, I'm always been a 2-team person. Like, I'm one of those dicks that like roots for like both teams. Everyone hates that, by the way. People fucking hate it. They hate
I know
that they root when you root for both teams. But I do. I root for Bay Area teams. I always root for Bay Area teams. But I've always been more Giants than A's. But I gotta say, the A's are doing more to like keep me.
Yeah.
Whereas the Giants are adding things that are like really expensive. Like we have the Gotham Club, and it's for cool rich people, and then like the Cloud Clubs for like tech companies to rent space, and it's just not affordable for normal baseball fans, and it makes it hard to go. So I'm thankful to the A's for that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is so awesome.
I think that's very cool. Where can people find you on the internet?
The best place to find me on social media is at Brooklyn Fit Chick. Just type it out and you'll find me. And my blog is brooklynfitchick.com.
Awesome. And you can find me at thesoniashow.com and on Twitter at thesoniashow. And you can find Dorking Out at dorkingout.com and Dorking Out Show on Twitter and Facebook. And this was super fun as always.
This was so great.
Thanks for reliving my childhood with me.
Thank you guys for letting me process some old feelings, by the way, today. I didn't expect that to come out, but it just did. But we're all friends. We can handle it.
And my grandma made this for me because I'm special.